Okay, so these get kind of tricky, especially with the factoring. Once you figure out the factoring, then it's not so bad. But if you're simplifying rational expressions, we need to factor anything that will factor and then cancel anything that will cancel. So first thing you want to do is factor common factors out of the top, separate from the bottom. So if I'm looking at the top here, uh, so I'm just focusing on this here. So I can divide both 3 and 6 by 3, obviously, but also n to the third. So that's going to become, put 3n to the third on the outside, and then put the result on the inside, put the result of the division. So 3 divided by 3 leaves me with 1, n to the third taken out of n to the fourth leaves me with 1 n to the first. Then the 6 divided by 3 gives me positive 2. The n to the third will cancel out and just be on the outside. So there I have factored the top. Now I factor the bottom. So again, I can take out a 3, n to the third on the bottom, and then the result of that division goes on the inside. So 6 divided by 3 leaves me with 2. Take away 3 n's, leave me with 1 n. And then 9 divided by 3 leaves me with 3, taking all 3 of those n's. So there I've factored the bottom. After doing the common factor, for this one I can't factor anything else. But now I can cancel things that are the same on top and bottom. So the 3 over 3 cancels out. The n to the third over n to the third cancels out. So all that's left is going to be the n plus 2 over the 2n plus 3. Going crazy. 2n plus 3 on the bottom. So there would be the simplified answer. Okay, now on Khan Academy, you're going to be asked what are the values that make this undefined. So to find what values make it undefined, you just take the factors on the bottom and set them equal to 0. So you'll have 3n cubed equals 0, and then 2n plus 3 equals 0. You want to know where does the denominator equal 0, because if you divide by 0, it's undefined. So if I divide by 3 to cancel out that, n cubed equals 0, cube root of that, and it's going to be 0. When there's nothing added or subtracted, it's going to be 0. Okay, so there's one of the numbers that make it undefined. The other number that makes it undefined will come from the other factors. So if I subtract 3, I'm going to have 2n equals negative 3, and then divide by 2, and will be negative 3 over 2. So these two values will make the fraction undefined at the beginning, and so they have to be excluded. Okay, so let's check out number 2. First thing you want to do is common factor out of the top. So 3 of these numbers can be divided by 3. So the 3 is going to be on the outside, and then I got x squared minus 10x, and then plus 25. So there I've taken the common factor out. Now you want to take this and factor it farther, because you want to factor as far as you can go. So when a is 1, the a term is what's in front of the x squared. Okay, it's really easy to factor this without any tools or tricks. So you need to multiply to get the 25 and add to get the negative 10. So it's going to be negative 5 and negative 5. Right? Negative 5 times negative 5 is 25. Add them together, you got negative 10. So there I factored the top. Now I just need to factor the bottom. There's no common factor because of the 1, and so now I need to get it into 2 binomials. So it multiplies to get 20 and adds to get negative 9. So you're going to have x minus 5 and x minus 4. Okay, so now that I've got everything factored, I want to cancel any factors that are the same on top and bottom. So I got this x minus 5 over x minus 5 to cancel, and nothing else. Everything else is going to stay. So I have 3 times x minus 5 over x minus 4. Okay, so there's the simplified fraction. Now you just set your denominators equal to 0, or your denominator factors equal 0. So you have x minus 5. Even the one that got canceled has to get set equal 0. And the x minus 4 has to get set equal to 0. So x equals 4 is excluded, and x equals 5. So there's the two values that x cannot equal. Okay, number 3. If we factor out, let's see, we can't divide 18 by 4, but we can divide them all by 2. So I'm going to factor out the 2. That'll leave me with 2y squared minus 9y plus 9. And then I can take this. Now when a is not 1, then the star that I made a video of earlier will help you out a lot. So if you have a times c on the top, b on the bottom, a on the sides. So a times c is 2 times 9, so 18. And then b is negative 9, and then a is 2. So just like before, we need to multiply to get 18 and add to get negative 9. Okay, so it's going to be negative 3 and negative 6. Then these sides act like fractions, so the negative 3 over 2 is going to become negative 6 over 2 is going to become negative 3 over 1. The other fraction can't reduce, so you leave it. Then those give us our binomials. So the 2 goes first. The bottom number always goes first. So we have 2y minus 3, and then now I'm looking at the other fraction, 1y minus 3. So there I've factored the top. Now I need to factor the bottom. So on the bottom, I can take out a y from all of them. So that y is going to go in front. Y squared minus 6y plus 9. And then I want to factor this into two binomials, which won't require the star because a is 1. And so I need to multiply to get 9 and add to get negative 6. So that's going to be y minus 3 and y minus 3. It's going to be a perfect square. So now I can write my denominator over here and then cancel out my factors that are the same. Then I'm going to write out my simplified fraction here. So 2y minus 3 over y times y minus 3. So there's that. And then I just remembered something else that Khan Academy is going to ask for. They're going to ask for it in expanded form. So what that means is you need to distribute this back in after you cancel out what needs to be canceled. So I'm going to have 4y minus 6 over y squared minus 3y. So this is what you would type into the first part of the answer. Then the second part of the answer goes back and sets each of these factors equal to 0. So you have y equals 0, y minus 3, and y minus 3. Now, that second one minus 3 is going to be the same, but if they're different, you're going to have you could have 3 different answers for this. So y is going to equal 0, and then y minus 3 equals 0. So y would equal 3. So there's your two excluded values. Now, number 4 here is a fun one. So there's no common factors on the top. 9, 13, 10 cannot be divided by the same thing, so I'm going to go put it in the star. Now you can also do factor by grouping, Khan Academy showed, and that's a great way to do it too. It accomplishes the same thing. I think that it's just a little bit quicker to use the star, but it's completely up to you. So we have a times c going on the top, so 90, b going in the bottom, and a going on the bottom sides. So we need to multiply to get 90 and add to get 13. So I just noticed that the 13 is a typo there. That should be 33. So we need to multiply to get 90 and add to get negative 33. So 3 times 30 is going to be 90. But I need to make them both negatives to multiply to get a positive, but add to get negative 33. Then the side fractions will reduce here down to negative 1 over 3, and then negative 10 over 3. And then we can write our numerator binomials. So we'll have 3x minus 1, and then 3x minus 10. So there's my numerator factored. Now the denominator is where things get pretty interesting. What can we factor out of both of these numbers here? So I can take 2 and an x. Right? So the 2x will be my common factor in front. 18 divided by 2 will be 9. X cubed becomes x squared. Negative 200 divided by 2 will be negative 100. The x's cancel. So there we go. Now the inside of this is a difference of squares. If you remember the factoring with patterns, so if I square root both the 9 and the 100, it's going to be 3. X squared root is x, and the 100 square roots to 10. 1 is plus, 1 minus. You can use the star with that as well, but difference of squares, grab my x there, difference of squares is easy to do without. So drop that 2x down and then rewrite everything here. 3x plus 10 and minus 10. And then I cancel out what cancels out. So the 3x plus minus 10s will cancel. And I'm left with 3x minus 1 over the 2x I need to distribute in because Khan Academy is asking for expanded form. That's going to be 6x squared plus 20x. So there's the expanded form that they're looking for. And then don't forget to set each of the denominator factors equal to 0. So 2x equals 0. Then 3x plus 10 equals 0. And then 3x minus 10 equals 0. So you'll solve each of those. You're going to get a couple of fractions there. And those are your excluded values. Okay, you're welcome to try the last 4 here. The PDF is on Schoology, and the answer key is down there with it. So I hope this helps. If you have questions, don't hesitate to ask.